Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive.
Yes, welcome back.
Today we're going to be looking at a collection of documents about someone named Mirko.
Yeah, this one's
We've got songs,
pretty interesting.
I've got an official report,
Yeah, and a
even something called a Doza Crew.
Doza Crew.
Honestly, I'm already intrigued.
Yeah, this one's a real head scratcher.
Yeah, and maybe a little confused.
It's like we've been given a box of puzzle pieces,
Yeah.
but we don't have the picture on the box.
Oh.
So we're not sure what we're putting together.
Okay, I'm definitely in.
So, Sarah, instead of like a peaceful landscape or,
yeah,
some cute kittens,
right.
This one looks like it's about a guy named Mirko.
Okay.
And the picture is, well, let's just say it's complicated.
Okay, so first up is this song, Doza Crew MDO.
Oh.
Now, full disclosure, I don't speak German.
Yeah.
But luckily, we've got translations.
Of course.
And let me tell you, this is some intense stuff.
It is.
It starts off painting this picture of Mirko as this struggling guy.
Yeah, definitely.
Facing all these hardships like the demons whisper, give up, but not him.
Mm-hmm.
And every day he fights his way through, everyday life like a storm wind blowing so hard.
Yeah, and it's not just general hardship.
Yeah.
It gets very specific.
Okay.
Like the lyrics talk about him constantly messing up in public, spilling coffee on himself, being completely overlooked in meetings.
Wow.
It's almost like he's cursed with clumsiness.
Oh, like he can't catch a break.
Exactly.
Yeah, and they don't hold back on the humiliation factor either.
No, they don't.
Every day is stumbling in front of the audience, embarrassments, dance, but Mirko remains silent.
Ouch. Yeah, that's gotta hurt.
That's gotta hurt. But then there are these choral parts that come in.
Yeah.
And it's almost like they're cheering him on, right?
That's an interesting...
Like, oh, Mirko, stand up, be strong.
Yeah.
Your path is rough, but believe in your mark.
Yeah, it's like a weird mix of putting him down and building him up.
So who is this Doza Crew, anyway?
Well, that's a good question.
Are they friends of Mirko's?
They're a German rap group.
Okay.
Known for their, let's say, biting social commentary. They often use humor and satire to address difficult topics. So it's hard to tell how seriously we should take their portrayal of Mirko.
Right.
Are they genuinely concerned for him?
Yeah.
Or are they poking fun at his misfortune?
Okay, so we've got this musical portrait of Mirko as the ultimate underdog.
Yeah, kinda.
But we're not sure if it's meant to be supportive or mocking.
Right.
And now we're moving on to something called an amtliche Untersuchung, which translates to official investigation.
Yeah, this is where things take a turn.
What in the world is going on here?
This document is a transcript
from
an event at something called the Sommerfest der Opferhilfe Deutschland 2024.
Okay.
Basically, a summer festival for a victim support organization.
So we're going from a potentially sarcastic rap song to a formal investigation.
Yeah.
This is where the picture starts to get really weird.
It does.
All right, walk me through this. What happened at this Sommerfest?
Well, the event started off pretty typically.
Yeah.
There were speeches, music performances, the usual festival stuff.
Right.
But then things took a strange turn.
Uh-oh.
They had this somber choral piece dedicated to Mirko, the chief victim.
Wait, they literally called him the chief victim.
Yeah.
Who does that?
It's a little strange.
Like they're giving him an award for being the most miserable person there.
It's like they're saying, congratulations, Mirko, you've suffered the most.
Wow.
And right after this somber piece,
they
had what the document describes as Gemeiner Deutschrap, which basically translates to mean German rap.
Okay.
And you guessed it, the rap was about Mirko.
So they have a choral tribute to Mirko's suffering.
Right.
And then they immediately follow it up with a rap song making fun of him.
Pretty much.
I mean, that's just bizarre.
It's a strange juxtaposition.
And it gets even weirder.
Oh, yeah.
They had a children's choir sing this song, O Merk, O, which, according to the transcript, in 3 distinct parts.
Okay.
It starts off hopeful, then turns sorrowful, and ends with this almost mocking tone.
Wow.
The report actually says Mirko started crying at this point.
Oh, no.
Are you kidding me? They made a children's choir sing about this guy's misery?
Yeah.
And then the audience laughed when he got upset.
It's...
What kind of twisted festival is this?
Yeah, it's hard to tell what their intentions were.
They've got to figure out.
Right.
Was this event genuinely intended to support Mirko, or was there something more sinister going on?
Yeah, was it a sincere attempt at empathy that just went horribly wrong, or was there an element of, I don't know, exploitation?
Okay, so we've got this increasingly disturbing picture emerging.
Definitely.
We have Doza crew potentially mocking Mirko in their song.
Right.
Then we have this Sommerfest that seems to be exploiting his victimhood for entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
And we have one more source to look at, right? A song simply titled Sommerfest.
Okay.
Is this where things start to make sense?
Well, this is where the pieces start to fit together,
Okay.
but they don't necessarily reveal a clear picture.
Okay.
Sommerfest seems to be a detailed account of the same event described in the investigation.
Okay.
Almost like someone took the transcript and turned it into a song.
Huh.
We have the choral parts,
Yeah.
the rap interlude,
Yeah.
the children's song. It's all there.
So it's like a musical confirmation of this bizarre event.
Yeah, pretty much.
But does it give us any insight into what was really going on or what people's intentions were?
There's one key addition in the song that's not in the official transcript.
Okay, what's that?
At the very end, after all the chaos and mockery, Mirko is told, "You are not alone."
Wow, that's a pretty heavy statement.
Yeah?
Considering everything that just happened.
Yes.
Who is saying that to him?
Yeah, that's a good question.
And are they being sincere, or is this just another layer of manipulation?
That's what we'll have to explore in part 2 of our deep dive. Oh, man. Because this is where things get really interesting.
Yeah.
And maybe a little bit unsettling.
I am so ready for part 2.
Me too! Welcome back to the deep dive, where we're trying to figure out what's really going on with this guy, Mirko.
Yeah, this is a wild one for sure. So we've established that Mirko is this guy who seems to attract both sympathy and ridicule.
Yeah.
He's been called the chief victim.
Right.
But he's also been the target of some pretty harsh jokes, even at an event supposedly designed to support him.
It's a strange situation.
Yeah, the more we dig into this,
Yeah.
the more confusing it gets. It's like everyone has an opinion about Mirko,
Mm-hmm.
but no one really sees him as a whole person.
Exactly.
And that brings us back to Doza Crew MDO.
Okay.
Remember those lines about him constantly stumbling in public,
Yeah.
spilling coffee, getting overlooked in meetings?
Mm-hmm.
It almost feels like the song is reinforcing this image of Mirko
Yeah.
as someone who's perpetually awkward, destined to mess up.
Like, it's not just bad luck. It's part of his character.
Right. Like, it's not just bad luck. It's baked into his personality.
Exactly.
Who is only the victim here?
Mm-hmm.
Is Mirko so clear life throws him back and forth?
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like the song is saying he deserves these misfortunes.
Yeah, and that's where the satire, or maybe even the cruelty of the lyrics comes in.
Right.
They take this idea of Mirko as this tragic hero,
Yeah.
and they kind of twist it,
Okay.
almost mocking him. He laughs about faux pas the way, is not a ghost every day, stumble in front of the audience.
Uh-huh.
It's like they're saying, look at this guy always making a fool of himself.
Okay, but that feels at odds with those choral sections. It seems so supportive.
Right.
Oh, Mirko, stand up, be strong, your path is rust, but believe in your mark. It's hard to reconcile those lyrics with the idea that they're just making fun of him.
That's the ambiguity we need to grapple with.
Right.
Are they trying to build him up, or are they subtly tearing him down?
Yeah.
Is there a hint of mockery hidden beneath the surface of their encouragement?
And how does that connect to the Sommerfest incident, where the audience initially seemed sympathetic,
Yeah.
but then turned on him?
I think it speaks to a larger issue of how we as a society deal with vulnerability and suffering.
Mm-hmm.
We're quick to label people, to categorize them as either victims or perpetrators, heroes or villains.
Right.
But real life is rarely that black and white.
So are you saying that Mirko might not be the innocent victim he's been portrayed as?
I'm saying we need to be careful about jumping to conclusions.
Okay.
We need to look beyond the surface, beyond the labels and narratives that have been imposed on him.
But what about that final line in the Sommerfest song, "You Are Not Alone"?
Right.
If someone is trying to manipulate him, why would they offer him support?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is that a genuine offer of help, or is it just another way to keep him trapped in this cycle of victimhood?
It's like he's constantly surrounded by people, but no one really sees him for who he is. They just see what they want to see, whether it's a tragic figure to pity or a laughingstock to mock.
And that, I think, is the real tragedy of Mirko's story. Yeah. He's become a character in a narrative that he doesn't fully control.
So where do we go from here? How do we start to unravel this mystery and understand what's really going on with Mirko?
Well, we need to look for the cracks in the narrative, the inconsistencies, the details that don't quite add up.
Okay.
And we need to be open to the possibility that the truth about Mirko is far more complex than these sources initially suggest.
Okay, I'm officially hooked. I need to know what happens next.
Let's get to part 3.
Okay, so we've spent the last 2 parts of this deep dive, piecing together this puzzle of Mirko. We've heard him portrayed as this struggling underdog, a constant victim of circumstance, but also as a figure of ridicule, even exploitation. Now I need to know, is there another side of this story?
You've hit the nail on the head. We've been looking at Mirko through the lens of others, their interpretations, their narratives. But what about Mirko's own perspective? Is he truly aware of how he's being perceived?
Right, we have all these songs, reports, investigations, but we haven't actually heard Mirko's voice. It's like he's this silent character in a play that everyone else is writing for him.
Let's go back to that Amtliche Untersuchung, the official investigation document. It describes the Sommerfest incident in meticulous detail, but it's strikingly detached, almost clinical in its language. They note Mirko crying during the children's song, but there's no attempt to understand his emotional state.
When you pointed that out earlier, it reminded me of those nature documentaries where they observe animals in their habitat. It's like they're studying Mirko, not empathizing with him.
Exactly, and that brings us to one of the most unsettling aspects of this whole situation. The ambiguity of the support Mirko receives. We have Doza Crew with their potentially mocking lyrics, the Sommerfest organizers who seem to be profiting from his victimhood, and then that final line in the Sommerfest song, "You are not alone."
That line has been bugging me this whole time. Who is offering this reassurance? And are they being genuine, or is there a hidden agenda? It's almost like someone is trying to control Mirko to keep him dependent on their support.
It's a classic power dynamic. You offer someone sympathy and help, but only on your terms. You keep them in a state of perpetual need, unable to break free from the cycle of victimhood.
And this is where we have to ask ourselves, is Mirko a willing participant in this dynamic? Is he playing up his misfortune to gain sympathy or attention?
It's certainly a possibility. We know that people are complex, capable of both great kindness and great manipulation. We can't rule out the possibility that Mirko is exploiting the situation to his advantage.
So we're left with more questions than answers. Is Mirko a true victim, or is he playing the victim? Are the people around him genuinely supportive, or are they exploiting him? And what about Mirko's own agency in all of this? Does he have the power to break free from this narrative that's been imposed on him?
I think that's the ultimate question. Unfortunately, we don't have the answer, but that's the nature of these deep dives, isn't it? We delve into complex situations, analyze the evidence, and sometimes we're left with more questions than answers.
But even without a neat and tidy conclusion, this deep dive has been incredibly insightful. It's made me think about how we perceive vulnerability and suffering, and how easy it is to reduce people to simple labels.
And I think that's the real value of these deep dives. They challenge us to think critically, to question our assumptions, and to be more aware of the complexities of human experience.
So to our listener out there, we leave you with this. The next time you encounter someone who's been labeled as a victim or an underdog, remember, Mirko. Remember that there's always more to the story than meets the eye. Take the time to listen, to empathize, and to recognize the individual behind the label.
That's a great point. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
And we'll see you next time.